Hello, my dear Sagittarians. This is your reading for the week of September 8th. Now, Spirit is coming in again with a bit of a caution for you. So I feel like for some of you, there's an ongoing situation. And again, it's not necessarily for the week of the 8th, and it's not going to be for every Sagittarian. For those I'm reading for, what Spirit was giving me early on before I started was an old teaching rhyme that goes way back. Stop, look, and listen before you cross the street. Use your eyes and use your ears before you use your feet. Okay, so again, caution in checking out, using your senses before you move, before you cross the street, before you make a move, okay? Now, we're going to dive into that a little further, but there was another image that came to mind. I don't know if you've ever seen like a winch on a boat trailer where it's a mechanism where it's cogs, it's teeth in a cog, and it's crank, 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 like that. It's the same kind of thing that you can use almost like a jack on a car or to jack up a building foundation. But what I'm getting with that is just don't force it. So in construction, for example, it would be do it slowly so that you don't, thank you, do it slowly, do it both corners at the same time, do it in a balanced way so that if you're lifting the foundation of the house, you're not going to crack the foundation. So for this, in conjunction with the stop, look, and listen, this is saying to me, really make sure that what you're doing, you are taking into account the surroundings, the variables, and proceed, I will say slowly, but it's not necessarily slowly, but proceed with awareness and with understanding. You are getting the card calm focus, okay? So there's no rushing or forcing here, no revving of the nervous system, no hyperexcitability or hyperachieving. Set your focus for the day clearly. Gather your mind's energy as though it is a spotlight being gently pulled into a quiet one-pointed laser beam. Let the beam guide you and do the work. So I think this is really interesting because as I'm reading that, what I'm also getting is you need the wide beam of the flashlight in order to be able to see it all. And then you bring your energy in. So big picture, taking it all into account, but not in a way where it's fragmenting your attention. It's like you're standing back and you're taking it all into account, and then you're bringing your intention, your energy together in a one-pointed laser beam, and you are progressing. But you are progressing, use your eyes, use your ears before you use your feet. And if you're winching up the foundation of a house, you do it slowly. You do it in a balanced manner so that you're not topsiding it, lopsiding it, okay? Now, the card that came up for you the very first card that came up for you, well, there's a bunch here that I think are really relevant and fit together. So I'm going to just read the names, and then we'll look at a little bit further. You get remorse and guilt, betrayal, shame, and then virtue. So when you put these together, we can look at this on two different levels. And this is what I'm getting, is that whatever situation you're dealing with, if there's remorse and guilt in it, yours or somebody else's, no, I have to change that. If you're having remorse and guilt about a situation that has been perpetuated largely by somebody else, it's because on some level you are understanding that you are a part of the situation. You have helped create the situation. Now, this is where it could sound like it's critical, and it's not at all critical. What Spirit wants you to really understand and realize is that inherently every situation that we are in is there to help us grow beyond what our current situation is and beyond what we have created out of our past. That we can have remorse, but to rest in guilt over something doesn't help. If it is something about betrayal, if you have felt betrayed, or if taking action causes you to feel as though you are betraying, this is where you get to really look back and understand, where has shame played a role in your life? Where has shame played a role in somebody else's life? Because those, shame and guilt, are two of the most destructive emotions a person can have. It's something that you'll find almost always at the root of any trauma. And often they can stay buried for a long, long time until something triggers them. Now, if you're in a position of having experienced betrayal, then what you're being asked to look at is, what are you being asked to look at? Tell me. You're being asked to look, okay, 2 levels. This is where the 2 levels come in. The second level is not the practical level of managing it. The second level is understanding that if you can step back and look at this from a perspective of, what in my history helped create the situation where I was inclined to attract and build whatever the situation was? What is it from my past that has created a behavior or a belief system that has helped this situation flourish? This is where you get to understand it from the point of view of, this is where your freedom is. This is where you now clear this energy and now can create from a new place. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be angry at having been betrayed, because anger is one of the things that lets you know a line has been crossed, a boundary has been crossed, a promise has been broken, whatever it is. And that action may need to be taken. Absolutely, no question. But what you're being asked to do is maintain a calm focus during the process of having to deal with it. You're being asked to really pay attention to what you feel right about. Whenever you're making a decision about something to do with a situation such as this, check in with yourself. You're going to say a lot of stuff, even in your own head, that you may feel and you may not really feel. Because sometimes you'll feel it a little bit, but it's being said like this because it's just an expression of energy, trying to get that energy out of your body. Before you make decisions, before you take steps around readjusting your position in something, really check in with yourself and say, do I want to? I can, I could. Do I want to? How does that feel in my heart? Not from the heart that is angry in betrayal, but the part or the part that is feeling remorse over not having handled things differently, or guilt, not from those emotions, but from the emotions of, okay, if I'm the hero in this story now, not as a way to be superior to the other people involved, but because now I am choosing to take care of myself and be in a different energy. If I'm going to be my own hero, what would that look like? How would that, what aligns with my heart in that vision? What aligns and communicates, where is my heart and my head aligned? When can I be calm and definite and direct in my heart about what is right in a way that my mind agrees with? It's bringing the two together. So by asking yourself, do I want to take this step forward? Do I want to make this change? Do I want to have this confrontation? Do I want to be chill for a while? Do I want to quit this job? Do I want to go in and discuss the situation with human resources? Whatever the situation is, really check in with yourself that you are doing it more from that calm place, not from your energy being all scattered out here with shame and guilt and remorse and betrayal and all that stuff. You bring it into the calm focus. When you bring it into a calm focus, you're in your observer position, you're in your neutral energy, and that is where you are a lot more able to stay out of the really reactive emotions and be more in the reflective emotions, which are going to align you with your heart. The beautiful thing about this is, however difficult this is, what it's really giving you a chance to understand is why your values have been the way they have, why you've made the choices you've made, even the ones that, as you look at it now, cause you to feel some remorse or some guilt about having made the choices that you've made in a particular situation. That you get to really understand where that comes from, so you can stop blaming yourself for not having been different sooner, for not having seen things that are so obvious to you now, but what it wasn't at the time. You get to understand the mechanism of what created whatever this atmosphere is for you that you're dealing with now. Now, when it says to, okay, thank you so much. The virtue card comes up because the virtue card is really talking about who defines what's virtuous. And so within the context of what I'm reading now, what I'm feeling now, this is also about you being able to understand that you can stand for what you want, that you can discern what is all right and is not all right according to your values, without making the other person or the other people bad people. You can acknowledge that it's unfair. You can acknowledge that it hurts. You can acknowledge that you don't like it, that it's not right. And you can also, within that context, step back and look at the fact that just the way your past shaped you into whatever created this situation now, their past created them. Their past shaped them. And when we talk about their past, I think it's really important to point out it's not just individuals. We are also talking now in this day and age of organizations, corporate organizations, spiritual organizations, any organization that has a hierarchical system and has a power, has the authority to dictate anything about you, or has been a structure within which you have grown and stabilized. That structure, be it corporate, spiritual, religious, whatever, governmental, they've grown out of a collective mindset of values. Some of them conscious, some of them unconscious. And they have been shaped, and every single individual in that organization that has created that structure has been shaped by their past too, and have now come together in this cohesive energy that may not be serving you anymore. Again, can we look at that and go, I do not agree, I do not believe this is in alignment with my true spiritual values, or whatever, wherever you want to anchor what your value system is. And I'm not going to call them horrible, evil people. I'm going to say, I do not agree with this, and I will stand for what I do believe in, contrary to that. Now, that seemed really important to bring that aspect of it so that it's beyond just whoever, a Sagittarian and another person, because this is really part of what we're all learning about now in this tumultuous time of life. Systems that have not been based, so systems and egos that have not been based in a mind-heart coherence with a value of spiritual compassion and integrity, they're not going to deal terribly well with the chaos, the violence, the aggressiveness that's going on in the world around, because they're going to be a lot more vulnerable. They're going to be a lot more affected by them. And I believe Spirit was talking about this a couple of weeks ago in a channeling. So be aware, please, that just as much as you might be struggling with adjusting to whatever this situation is, accepting it in a way so that you can be present with it. Not saying I'm accepting it, yeah, it's lovely. It's accepting it for what it is so that you can move forward with intention, with neutrality, and do what you need to do and stand for what is right for you. this is part of what this entire world is going through right now. And some of us will live it on a more personal level, and some of us will live it on a more global level. Some of it will live it more in intimate relationships. Some of us will live it more in extended community and work. But it's all the aspect of the stuff that isn't anchored in true heart-centered connection to source is going to be a lot more vulnerable and a lot more inclined to swerve over to what we would call the dark side, the side that is more inclined to be self-serving, weak, shame, guilt, blame, all of that. That quality of energy is going to be where they're going to have a tendency to move over. And in correspondence to that, there's going to also be the tendency for those people and organizations to then elevate themselves in their own mind as a way to combat the feelings of shame and guilt that are underlying there, that are there. Because you got to remember, guys, folks, people, our nature, who we are, is connected to our higher spiritual being. And so when we are not in alignment with that, even though the ego can be gratified by all that other stuff, there inherently is something inside that says it's wrong. And whether or not people really let that voice come into their heads, it's there, and it's resonating as an aberrant frequency to who they really are. And they can't take it for very long, or they can't take it and continue to grow with it. Okay? So what you're being asked to do is align with that voice in you so that you really literally can rise above into that higher and stronger frequency. Okay? I'm going to leave that now because that's quite a lot. But Sag, again, Spirit is here, and I feel like it's really, really important. They really, as I'm about to sign off, it's like they're drawing a line here between the cards, and they're wanting me to remind you that going through this is a huge spiritual up-leveling for you, with great regret for discomfort and pain and hurt, and not to minimize the experience of that and not to pretend that it's not there. Part of what you're learning and what the human is meant to be learning now is that all emotions must be honored and embraced within the totality of the human consciousness, but not something that is going to pull you out of the reality of who you are. Rather, who you are is meant to bring that up and bring that in. Okay? I think that makes sense. I'll have to listen back to this and let you know. Okay, that's it, my Sages. Take care.